Receiver at the running back side.
Ronnie Jefferson tweaked his hamstring this week. That's why he's not out there.
From the
Petty going deep.
On first down,
BJ's got an opening. And it's a touchdown.
What's up, guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Alex. I'm one half of those college football guys. It's been a while since I've actually made a video, but I got some new content coming your way, especially with this series. Before we get started, let me explain some things real quick. The last couple of years, I've been hearing that we need to expand the college football playoff to 8 teams or maybe more, depending on how many teams you want. So I decided to look into it to see if we actually do need more teams in the playoff. So by the end of all this, we shall see. So be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps us out. And so let's get started. Looking back at year 1, 2014, year 1 Final Four was Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, and Ohio State. 5 and 6 were Baylor and TCU on the outside, looking in. Now I pose the question, did they get them right? Did they get Alabama right? Yes, they had one loss to Ole Miss, but this year no one was undefeated besides, Florida State. Plus, they won their conference pretty soundly by beating Missouri 42-13. So, yeah, I think they got that right. Did they get Oregon right? I would say yes. They had a one-loss Arizona, but the second time they played them, it wasn't even close. 51-13. So I think with the conference championship win, redeeming their one loss, that's what got them into the playoff. So yes, they got that right. Did they get Florida State right? Yes. Even though they finished undefeated, they still had a really tight games the entire season. They even almost lost to Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost on a late call. Sorry, Notre Dame. Now, did they get Ohio State right? Yes. Well, sorta-ish. Let's bring this in now. The College Football Committee Guidelines Protocol. When circumstances at the margins indicate that the teams are comparable, then the following criteria must be considered. Championships won, strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, if it occurred, comparative outcomes of common opponents without incenting margin of victory, other relevant factors such as key injuries that may have affected a team's performance during the season or likely will affect its postseason performance. Baylor, TCU, and Ohio State were all comparable until Ohio State blew out Wisconsin in their conference championship game with their backup quarterback. So let's check some boxes real quick. Ohio State won their conference, whereas the Big 12 did not have a conference championship game. They actually played a round robin, and they had co-champions, which was Baylor and TCU. Strength of schedule, on the day of the selection show, Ohio State was 26th, Baylor was 13th, and TCU was 10th. TCU and Baylor did play head-to-head, and Baylor won. TCU and Ohio State did have one common opponent, and that was Minnesota. TCU beat them 30-7, Ohio State beat them 31-24. All 3 teams had one loss. Ohio State lost to a Virginia Tech team that finished 7-6. TCU lost to Baylor, who finished 11-1. And Baylor lost to West Virginia, and they finished 7-6. Ohio State checked the biggest box, I believe, and that was the conference championship box. While TCU and Baylor were co-champions, it wasn't an actual game that solidified who was the actual conference champion. By the playoff committee's guidelines, they chose the team that marked the most important box, and that was the conference championship box. They got it right. And if you can remember, Ohio State went on to beat Alabama and dominate Oregon. Now the question, should there have been more than 4 teams in the playoff based on the 2014-2015 college football season? The answer is no. The Big 12 ruined it for their members by not having a conference championship game. And if we got to see Baylor versus TCU in a conference championship game, there's a good chance Baylor or TCU actually move ahead of Ohio State for the number 4 spot. If Baylor and TCU had a conference championship game, it would have been number 3 TCU 11-1 versus a number 6 Baylor 11-1. The winner would have had a better win than Ohio State in their conference championship game. Ohio State was number 5 and they played number 13 Wisconsin. So even if Ohio State blew out Wisconsin, the win from Baylor and TCU would have been much better than the Wisconsin win. So you can't really blame the committee for choosing Ohio State over a Big 12 team, because Ohio State played 13 games and Baylor and TCU played only 12. This is just part 1 of the series, and we got more parts coming. Hopefully you guys enjoy this series. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe because it helps us out, and comment below. Let me know what you think. See you guys next time.